I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
Celebratory chime, Jackson Brown running on empty. That's right, folks. We resurrected it because this is an auspicious day, I guess, perhaps. The last time that I'll sit behind this microphone and do the show. So, look, it's going to be a fun day. It's going to be an emotional day. Probably, knowing me, I'll probably have some emotion. Dan Alstrand is sitting across from me. Dan, how you doing?
Hey Todd, how are you?
Hey, I'm all right.
It's a day. It's gonna be fun, I think.
Yeah, well, you held the mic here for a number of months, and
right.
I appreciate it very much.
Well, it was my pleasure to do so. I hope that at least I held at least a small torch to what you do.
Oh, come on now, come on, Dan. Your flattery will get you everywhere.
There you go. That's right. I'm looking. I accept cash donations.
Well, listen, folks, it's going to be a Friday. It's going to be a good day. A Monday, I've been told that I'm not to divulge what's happening Monday.
Be a big surprise, but there will be a talk show on Monday.
There will be a talk show, and it won't be me.
And it won't be you, and that's unfortunate. But, there's always a space here in the studio for you, Todd, no matter what the talk show is. So I don't think this will be the last time that we'll hear you on this radio station, but the last time that you'll be in that chair, and I'll be on this side of the desk.
For sure. All right, so lots and lots to talk about. So, Dan, if you just stick around just for a couple of minutes, that'd be great. Somebody who I've had the opportunity to chat with lots and lots over the years is Dr. John Gillis. Dr. Gillis, good morning.
You got it? There you go.
Dr. Gillis, how are you? Wait, we're having problems.
Hang on.
And, of course, we will have problems. All right, let's see here. Dr. Jeff Goodall, let's go with you first. Dr. Goodall, how are you?
Wow, first. Hey, Todd, how are you doing, brother? I haven't talked to you for so long, at least on the radio. I appreciate seeing you in the room.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, I just wanted to take the opportunity to bring in all the regulars on the Todd Veinotte Show over the last number of years. Yourself included, always enjoy your segments you run with Dan yesterday. So, listen, a big thanks, because what you've done and what you do for the listeners is greatly appreciated. I often hear that people tune in specifically just to listen to your segment, Dr. Goodall.
Well, it's Dr. Jeff. No worries. Don't call me. Let's not be too formal, brother. Well, that's very nice to hear. I mean, my gosh. I hope it's helpful. It's an emotional thing having the opportunity to talk to people about their pets. I just hope it helps sometimes. I don't know why I get so emotional about animals, but there you go. And I'm going to miss you too. You're an enjoyable person. I'll miss, hopefully we'll talk about Ollie and Sahaday County and all that, but...
Well, yeah, absolutely. And when we bring Oliver over, of course, our beloved dog, to your fine establishment, and you give him good care, we'll see you then also. But Again, I just wanted
no,
I just wanted to have you on, Jeff, just to thank you so much. And again, I know how much everybody appreciates it, myself included, everybody here at the radio station. It means one whole heck of a lot, and a big, massive thank you. You got a huge heart, and the radio station will continue to have you as long as you're willing to come on the show.
Well, that's really appreciated. I just hope it helps the listening audience. I mean, veterinary medicine is so complicated. There's no simple answers, and I know it's not inexpensive sometimes. And if the listeners get something out of it and feel a little bit better about their choices with their pets, it's all that matters, right?
Absolutely.
So I really appreciate the opportunity from you and Vanessa and of course Rogers Telecom. It's just a great little, what is it? Not customer service, you know what I mean? I can't think of the word. I mean, to help the community.
It's public service. So
I really appreciate it because I don't want to eat up your time. I know you got a lot of people to talk about. You're super popular. Going to miss you, buddy.
I'll miss you too, pal. And we'll see you again. Thanks, Jeff.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. All right, let's try Dr. John Gillis. Dr. Gillis, we got you now?
You got me this time?
Yeah, we get you loud and clear, pal. Thanks for doing this.
There
We
we go.
appreciate it very much.
I wouldn't miss it. We're going to miss you very much. It's a great loss to the community. It's been, obviously, we've been doing a great job with Dan, but we're really going to miss your insights and your intelligence and your ability to tell people to piss off when they need to be told to piss off. So.
Well said. Well said.
Can I say that?
You certainly. You
I
just
think you already did, John.
You just did. John, what keeps you going and doing this? I mean, it's been 20 years. What keeps you motivated to do this?
I just find I learn something new every time I'm on, and I've enjoyed talking to you. I've enjoyed talking to Dan, Andrew, Rick, all those who've worked there, and it keeps you sharp and it makes you think. And in particular, these last couple of years, it's been a little different. It's always in the studio before, but doing it remotely has been interesting, but it's also made it in some ways easier. If you're busy or you're traveling, but we could always connect, and it shows where the world has come. No matter where I was, I could call in, connect with you, and we could talk about the issues of the day, make fun of the Leafs, share. I can share my depression on the radio,
That's right.
Those sorts of things.
That's right.
But but it also I do think, and you alluded to it with the previous chat. Not taking credit personally, but you, by engaging people to do this, it helps people. It gives them information. It gives them a chance to ask questions across a variety of topics. And I think we can't underestimate how important that is to the community, and people appreciate it. And it's been you leading that, and that's it's very important. And we thank you, and I think the community really thanks you. And look, it will continue, but the way that you did it and really got to the heart of the issues and drilled down, and you could be you're always very fair and very to the point, but you tease out an issue, and if people got a little rangy, you'd rein them back in, and I always appreciated that.
How often, Dr. Gillis, do you get people say, "Hey, I heard you on the radio"? Did you? You must have heard that a lot over the years, eh? Hopefully, you did.
Yeah,
right?
it happens a lot. I get told I have a face for radio, so that's that's the greatest compliment anybody can give me. So
yeah. Well, listen, Dr. John Gillis, it's been a real pleasure, real treat. I consider you a friend, and
absolutely.
I can't thank you enough for all that you've done and will continue to do. And the radio station looks forward to hearing you on a regular basis for many years to come. Thanks so much, John.
And by the same token, we appreciate you, and I'm always here if you need anything.
Okay, pal. Take care. All right, Dr. John Gillis. Wow. So, Dan, there you go.
We're off and running, Todd.
I know. Well, it is amazing. 20 years he's done that segment, isn't it?
Right. And it's not the easiest of segments to do, right? You have to think about listening to somebody's list of problems and then trying to diagnose it on the radio. I don't know if it happens anywhere else, right? Because it's there's a lot of tough questions there, and credit to Dr. John, credit to our listeners who will call in and share some pretty personal stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I also, I got to give you credit. You guided that segment and the Todd Veinotte show through probably one of the most difficult medical
COVID.
times in our history,
COVID,
right?
yeah.
And the information that was coming out on COVID and the lockdowns and the vaccines and the anger and the people that were scared and you're able to do that every week with Dr. Gillis, and I hope that we shared information that made people at least feel a little more easy with the situation that was crazy.
Yeah, and of course, Dr. Gillis is unapologetically political by nature. He's not hidden the fact that he's a liberal. He's been involved with the party for a long time, but I think he did a good job on keeping that to the side and keeping his medical hat on, and I think that's important that he did that.
Right, and it was a divisive time, and people are still divided over the issue.
Yeah, for sure. Well, my, oh my, we're off to a good start. Perhaps you've got another job to do today, Dan.
I'm going to be around for the day today. It was kind of weird, I got to admit it, not going through the regular routines of preparing to sit in that chair today, but we'll be around for the remainder of the show.
Don't go anywhere. We'll see you at the end of the show. How's
for sure. That sounds like a plan. Thanks, Todd.
Okay, that's Dan Alstrand. And when we come back, another regular, Rob Thacker, will be back. All right, I'm not sure if I thanked Vanessa Van Ness off the top. I don't know, a lot of things are running through my head, but if they did not, I apologize, Vanessa. And if I did, you get a double thank you for the fine work that you've done behind the boards, and I'll have some words for you later on, young lady. Very good words. So don't be nervous over there. Joining me here in studio is Dr. Rob Thacker, St. Mary's University. No, folks, it's not Tuesday. It's not. Some people, oh my God, it's Tuesday. What's going on? No, it's not. But I wanted to bring you in, Rob, because you've been a huge part of the Todd Veinotte show for so long, and the radio station for so long. And I just can't thank you enough, my friend.
Well, Todd, I can't thank you enough. I mean, the incredible thing is, Dan's already mentioned it, but we started going, I think, during COVID. Mm-hmm. And so everything was over the phone.
Yeah.
And that's just not the same,
no.
Right? I mean, we did it, which was awesome, but it's just not the same as being in the studio. So being here with you today is really something special, and I want to thank you. Everyone's going to be doing this. You're not going to be able to get a word in edgeways, but for everything that you've done and all of the time with callers on the Science Files, you've been really prepared to put things out there, to listen to what they have to say, and to really only cut people off when it's really coming. Right. Yeah. And I want to say thank you for that, because that makes my job so much easier, and I think it makes the show so much better as well. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you made it pretty easy to do. And the thing that I really liked about the segment was a lot of things I liked about the segment, but your general demeanor is so pleasant, and not to say that you don't have depth, because you have depth and you have a lot of, but you're pleasant to listen to, and dare I say a nice guy, and that's a nice change, considering a lot of the edge that the show and the station inherently deals with, right?
Well, so I'm going to say I have the best job in the world, right? Because I get to literally understand how things work on a day-to-day basis. It's like there's that show, How It's Made. I'm doing that every day, right? And so when someone calls in with a question, that's just an extension of that. And I'm more than happy to sit there and talk with them. And the other thing is, I don't know about the nice guy thing, thank you very much, but I don't believe I have much of an ego, right? So when people call in and I don't know something, I'm prepared to just lay that out there and say, I don't know, but wow, we need to know this, we need to know that, and then we can figure it all out, right? And that, I think, is a key part of really doing science, right? It's not knowing everything, right? That's not the way it works. It's about when we don't know, what don't we know, let's find it out.
How often, I asked Dr. John Gillis as well, how often do you get people saying, I heard you in the Science Files? Does that happen?
It does. It does happen. So in Halifax, it happens the most when you get into a taxi, because taxi drivers are often got the radio on and so on, and every now and again I go, Are you Dr. Rob? But the most amazing thing for me was actually being in the UK in Heathrow. They called me up Air Canada calls me up to the desk. It's a flight to Halifax, so it does work. And then someone comes up to me afterwards, after I've spoken to them, and said, are you Dr. Rob from the Science Files? so that was really cute, and that was very flattering and nice. And whenever people do just say hi, I'm always a little bit bashful and a little bit sort of blushing about it, but sure, it happens.
So what motivates you to want to do this? Because you could be doing a lot of different things. You kind of talked a bit about it, but what really motivates you to do this on a weekly basis?
I'm not going to joke about this because this is really part of it. It's working with people like you, right? Coming in and being prepared to talk to me about this in a way that's really down to earth. Some of the ideas are pretty highfalutin, don't get me wrong, but we're doing this in a very accessible way. And I think that's really important because people need to know that, I may be an academic and I may have spent years and years and years studying what I do. I'm still approachable. I still want to help people learn stuff because there's the famous saying that my mum and dad always used to say, which was like, when you're tired of learning, you're tired of life. And I truly believe that, right?
Yeah.
So being on with hosts like you've done such an awesome job over the years. It's really, like, I'm trying to think of what my favorite moment working with you is, but it's probably like the cumulated effect of the number of times you help me not have to answer the UFO question.
I know. Seemingly every week I try. What do you mean you don't believe in UFOs?
Well, I have to put my skeptical hat on.
That's right.
And so with Rick, it was a little bit different. We'd often joke some more about it, but some people take it very seriously, and you have to be careful with that because some people can get quite upset.
Yeah, for sure. But for the most part, it's a sphere which is not controversial. I think inherently curiosity more than controversy.
Well, so where we were super careful, and I think we both understood this with COVID, because I am a physical scientist and I'm not a medical scientist. I didn't want to put my foot too deep in that, right? Because I didn't want to make it look like I had expertise that I didn't have. And unfortunately, a few people did actually go and do that, taking models of various things and saying, okay, we can apply this to the spread of COVID. But I never wanted to do that. And you were okay with that, which was awesome.
Yeah. What's going on with Artemis and the moon and all that?
Well, getting ready to go, but the big announcement just a couple of days ago was the fact that they're canning the Lunar Gateway, which is a huge thing for Canada, right? Because one of the biggest space development contracts we've ever done was building Canadarm3 for the Lunar Gateway. So who knows what's going to happen with that? I guess we'll hear over the next few days because that was a contract between the Canadian Space Agency and MDA, who were the prime contractor. So we'll see. But Jeremy Hansen's got to be pretty edgy, a bit nervous, getting ready to go. So we'll see how it all goes. I mean, I'm not too concerned about this mission. This is a NASA rocket. They're usually very, very careful about safety and engineering. So I quietly think this is going to be pretty spectacular and the first time for several decades.
Yeah. Right. I mean, some of the challenges getting that payload and the sheer getting into or getting out and on out of the Earth's atmosphere.
Yep.
That with the payload that is needed, that's the crux of it, right?
That's
the fuel, and that's the dangerous part, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's where you're expending your most energy.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's really the reason why we have big multi-stage rockets, is because the only way you can get even a handful of tons into orbit is to have a very big rocket. Yeah. Right. And so then once you've done that, getting off to the moon, you haven't got to plow through the atmosphere anymore. It's actually not that difficult. In fact, we talked about this on the show, that going to the moon versus going to Mars, they're not actually energetically that different.
Right.
Right. One just takes a long time compared to the other one. Right.
All right, $2 billion, I think, that the United States is committed to building a space or a base on the moon. How realistic do you think that is?
$2 billion isn't a lot of money for that.
No, sure isn't.
And I know that probably sounds crazy to people, like 2,000 million, but no, it's not that much money for doing something like that. I personally think it's going to hedge upon whether Elon Musk's Starship Heavy rocket turns out to be as good a performer as they hope it is. But even then, I mean, it takes a lot of fuel for that to get to the moon, right? Yeah. It can put 100 tons on the moon, admittedly, but it takes a lot of fuel to do that. So we'll see how this all plays out. It's very quick. I mean, they're talking about rolling this out within the space of like 8 or 9 years. I'm not convinced of that personally. The Lunar Gateway was a lot easier project, and so logistically anyway. So well, I don't know. Wait and see. Yeah. I mean, I won't be talking about it in 8 years' time. Yeah. I'll be sitting on a beach somewhere with a pina colada.
Well, there you go. How political is it still? We know back with the Cold War of Sputnik, where it's put a big charge into the United States to get to the moon. How the Cold War, we're not there yet, but politics and muscle flexing and space, how much is
it's
still
coming
at play?
Back, but this time it's between the States and China, I think.
Yeah.
Right. So China has said we're going to put boots on the moon, and that's what literally Trump is trying to do really quickly. So I tend to think that the long-term nature of these projects means that they are subject to being political footballs, right? We've seen missions to Mars be on again, off again over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
That's happened repeatedly. It's very expensive to go to Mars. Now that's off the table. Going to the moon is not quite so expensive. I don't think $2 billion gets you there or gets you a moon base. But we'll see. I mean, my big question is the one that's probably on every listener's lips is, what's the point?
Yeah, what is the point?
Yeah,
you tell me.
No, I mean, it's literally about learning to survive in a difficult environment. That's what this is going to be about. Like previously, it's about getting there, doing it. Now it's about going there, surviving there, and learning about surviving in low gravity environments. That's going to be a lot of useful information about physiology. And then on top of that, dealing, and we've talked about this before, lunar regolith, this horrible stuff, right? And you're basically going to have to engineer things that can survive it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on what, again, the last time I'm going to be able to talk to in this context, so I'm going to throw a few big ones at you. Yeah. What are your thoughts on what's happening globally and fossil fuels and the proliferation of what looks like the fossil fuel industry? Where it certainly turned a corner, and Donald Trump, I think, could be blamed for that, if you want to use that term. Some would say praised for that. But what are your thoughts on the direction we're heading when it comes to fossil fuels?
I think it's extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
Right? Like getting massive countries off of fossil fuels is difficult enough. And then when you have situations when literally you can pivot the whole thing, start drilling for more reserves and so on, that's not going to be good. And it's very, very difficult to take this CO2 out of the atmosphere once we put it up there, right? I mean, people talk about like, yes, you can plant trees. You can plant trees on huge industrial scales, right? But at the end of the day, it's just a lot easier not to put it up there in the first place. So I'm not a big fan of this. I thought that we were seeing finally with the Biden administration the Inflation Reduction Act, which is really an attempt to put lots of low-carbon industries in place. That's kind of quietly dissipating. So, yeah, not good.
Yeah, the electric vehicle momentum seems to have decelerated.
I mean, it was always going to be it's more of an infrastructure problem than anything else, right? Because you have to have all of the charging stations in place. You have to build all of that out. I mean, we've talked about that on the show, right? Literally building the electrical grid network that you need for electrification is the hard part of the whole thing. And that's where things have stalled to a large extent. But there's also this reality that gasoline cars are just that much simpler, at least at the moment, driving experience in terms of filling up, right? And there's no getting away from that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, I guess, in general, kind of parting thoughts on how things are globally?
Oh, wow. You're picking the easy ones.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
No, seriously. I mean, it's the most uncertain time I think we've seen in probably at least 50 years geopolitically.
Yeah.
Right? And, I mean, you have to go back to the 80s in the Cold War and uncertainties then. So, yeah, it's a bit of a scary time. And if I'm completely honest, I'm not sure I understand what goes through the heads of some of these people sometimes.
And technology and AI is scary. That's a scary thing. What are your thoughts on AI?
So there's a really interesting, like, this is one thing that I can talk about a little bit scientifically, and you'll totally get it. Like, the more we optimize our systems, the more fragile they actually become.
Yeah.
Right? And we've seen this with global trade, right? Literally, one small nation decides that they're going to basically hold hostage to one shipping route, and suddenly people tens of thousands of kilometers away are paying that much more for their gasoline. Right? And those type of things escalate to all of the interconnectivity that we have in our societies because of the global connections we have now. And that's something for people to think about, because AI will just turn that on steroids. It will make more efficiencies, make things more concerning if something breaks down somewhere. We've seen it with networks breaking down and so on, with like Facebook outages, Rogers outages, right? We've seen that. So those kind of things are what we have to worry about. Yeah.
Well, Rob Thacker, it's been great. And again, a massive thank you so much. It wouldn't have been the same if I didn't get a chance to have one more chat with you on the show. And I can't thank you enough. You're a class act, my friend. And you promised that you'll drag me out for a golf game.
Absolutely, Todd. It's truly been a pleasure to work with you over the last few years. And seriously, man, I wish you all the best.
Okay, thanks, pal. That's Rob Thacker. Class act all the way. Tim Powers when we come back. All right, it's been too long, Tim Powers, Summa Strategies Abacus Data, friend of the show. Been far too long, my friend. Nice to chat with you.
I think I'm just seduced by those tones. I mean, you are right. I've missed our banter, our laughter, the ridicule I give you about your horrible sports choices.
Yeah.
But good to talk to you today, buddy.
Don't forget, we're kindred spirits when it comes to baseball, though. In the Yankees, come on now.
And they had a good opening win, didn't they? They looked good. They looked good. Look, that was a strong win over the Giants.
Exactly. So listen, I would not be the same to do my last show to not have you on. And before I do want to do our regular laundry list of things, but I do want to thank you, Tim, personally. I consider you a friend and one hell of a smart guy. And just the fact that you have been willing to come on the show and give your time and be so professional about it, it's just, I can't say enough. And honestly, I thank you so much, my friend, and I mean it.
Well, it's always fun to be on with you. You're a great guy. I also consider you a friend. The injustice which we are going to have to solve in the next little while is the fact we've never spent time together in person, but our friendship has grown over the years, over the phone. We've shared laughs. We've shared stories, and I'm going to miss you doing this, buddy, but you're a great fella, and you've made an enormous contribution, particularly in Atlantic Canada, to all the important discussions that need to be had.
Thanks so much, Tim. Appreciate it very much. All right, let's talk a little bit again about what's going on. Why not, right? To get the opportunity. How do you get the job as the CEO of Air Canada if you can't speak French? How the hell does that happen? Can you explain that to me?
Well, I was just talking to Vanessa about this, actually. Yes, they're under the Official Languages Act. Yes, they're headquartered in Montreal. But, Todd, I think this controversy is so overblown, and it's been made so political because of this a by-election in Terrebonne. It's almost embarrassing, right? Because for all the politicians involved, we only today understand the two bodies of the pilots have been repatriated back to Canada. I take to a degree the argument that yes, maybe there was some insult extended to the families by not doing it in French, but I think he was legitimately trying to express what he expressed. Mm-hmm. But to see the politicians leap on this, for me, I want somebody who runs an airline who can make the airline safe, who can make the airline fly properly, create opportunity, reduce prices. This isn't it's more of a political job than perhaps any other CEO's job, but I don't think Mike Russo, the CEO, is being treated very fairly here because everybody else has their agenda. This is less about bilingualism and more about political opportunism, at least in my view.
Do you think he survives?
I don't know. The board of directors is, you've heard Mark Carney make that comment, and Mark Carney knows what a board of directors does, and you heard him say when he was first asked about it, well, we're waiting to hear from the board of directors. I mean, they still have to deal with what, in my view, is more important as somebody who flies frequently on Air Canada. Please figure out what happened in LaGuardia. Deal with that issue. Let him do that job. Stop distracting. That's, again, not to be insulting to anybody whose priority is the language issue, but I want to know it's safe first. I want to know that they're going to look through everything and that he leads all of that. I mean, Air Canada apparently had not had a major incident, thanks be to God, for 43 years. So let's focus on the safety first and deal with the politics afterwards, and whether he survives that or not, I don't know. But I think putting somebody new in right now who was not present when all this happened is not a service to any of us at all.
Right, and it's not as though he had any advocate defending him either. Everybody went for blood, including the Prime Minister on this one.
Well, look, there's a Quebec election coming in the fall. There's this Terrebonne by-election on April 13th between the Bloc Québécois and the Liberals. Nobody else is really in that contest. I mean, yeah, this is an important issue about language, but why couldn't it wait a month? Is this the most important thing that's coming out of this crash? No, it's not.
Yeah. And of course, like you said, what can't be lost is the tragic death of two young pilots.
Yes, exactly. And Mr. Foray and Mr. Gunter, we're not talking about them as much because we're going after the CEO for a poor communications exercise, and that's not right either.
Yeah. I think it's pretty clear that I mean, obviously the investigation needs to be held, but the pilots were landing. I mean, they weren't.
It seems the issue's the truck, but
right.
Exactly. But we can speculate on it. It's been well reported, and that would seem to be the case. But let that happen. Let that. And let's help the people who are. Do you think it's going to be? There's still 5-6 people who are in hospital. The people, the trauma that they're going through. Imagine how they feel that. Oh, okay. Well, all the politicians are caring about is whether he speaks French properly or didn't speak French in this. What about the way I feel and the trauma I'm going through? That really sends a great message to them.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk a little bit about some defense spending. 2%. Wow, we got there. What are your thoughts on that? How much does that mean internationally? Does that keep Donald Trump satisfied for 5 minutes or what?
Maybe 2.5. I wouldn't go the full 5.
Yeah.
I mean, like anything, you and I've talked about this stuff over the years. Remember in COVID, we talked about, we needed to spend to look after seniors and elderly care and homes. And where the hell's that gone? I don't think we're meeting that. Then we had to address housing. I mean, bright, shiny objects, and we talk about doing it, the broader healthcare system. We do it for a little while, then we fall off. I mean, yeah, great that we're there. Are we going to stick with it? And for our region, I mean, I know there's a lot of excitement in our region about this because it could mean the reinvigoration of all those bases that when you and I knew when we were kids that were shut down in the 80s that are now potentially coming back on stream. That could be huge for Atlantic Canada. So let's hope they stay with it.
Right.
But governments of all stripes aren't very good at being consistent and sticking to the priorities they lay out.
Yeah, and of course, like you said, you can spend $60 billion in a hurry, but what are you spending it on, and what's the oversight like? That's the other question.
Yeah, and we've seen horrible examples of. I think people accept mistakes to a certain degree, but what is the oversight going to be, and what are the errors that are going to come from all of this? I think the intent is right, and again, for Atlantic Canada, I think this is a great thing for our region, and we strategically are still very important. So hopefully, this is done the right way, and the commitment to 3.5 gets met.
All right, let's talk a little bit of provincial politics here. There will be no more singing in Nova Scotia legislature this week. You probably heard the story. The Speaker's office had announced Province House will be closed to the public for the remainder of the week to ensure no further obstructions to the House's proceedings. So basically, up in the gallery, the public gallery, where the people were being, disruptive, and the Speaker banned them. And there's some controversy over that, and also Premier Tim Houston was in Texas. He was not on or in the ledge for a pretty controversial vote on the budget. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the protests first. Every legislature has protests, and if these measures are only short-term, fine, and they send a message that you need to be respectful in the legislature, then great. I don't think you can do this, keep people out of the legislature. I mean, it is the public's business. Premier being away, I think he was in Houston. Houston was in Houston with the rest of the Premier Wakeham from Newfoundland was there. Premier Smith was there. Hey, I don't really have an issue with that. They need to drum up energy opportunities, and Houston was the place to be. Sitting for a speech from or missing public debate, don't make it a regular habit, but Houston was a big deal, and there were a lot of key industry players there, and if you want to show that you're in the energy game, you had to be there. So no issue with the Premier being there.
Well, with the optics, though, Tim, I guess the optics of
Houston
not being
Houston.
There.
I like that, though, Todd.
Yeah, that was nice. That was nice.
There's no vino in Venice. There you go. Anyway, go ahead.
No, the optics of the Premier not being in the ledge. I mean, obviously the opposition is making hay out of this, as much hay as they can. But do the optics matter to the public? I guess it would depend on the perception of the individual voter.
I can't speak as well as you can to Province House, but I know, for example, in our Newfoundland and Labrador House of Assembly, and I know here in Newfoundland, the House of Assembly which is akin to Province House, doesn't sit very often. So when the premier isn't there, it does get noticed. But they only have maybe 8 sitting weeks all year. So, and I think in Nova Scotia it's the same. You don't sit that often. So it probably gets more attention than it normally would. I think it becomes a problem for Tim Houston if people see it as a pattern. And here in Ottawa, as you know, there's a narrative that our opposition is trying to develop that Mark Carney is never here, though he was here this week and he's on the road. And then you gotta watch that. You do have to watch that when you're a leader. If it looks like you're more interested in traveling and spending public money to do the public's business, even though that should be what you're doing, it irritates people.
Lastly, what are your thoughts on Pierre Poilievre's appearance on Joe Rogan? Did you watch it? Did you watch any of it?
Well, I'm getting you and I matching kettlebells as a gift for your retirement gift.
Yeah, you watched it. Yeah.
I didn't see the whole thing. I've seen and heard bits and pieces of it. I think it worked out for him, though there certainly was some risk there. And why do I think it worked out? Because for the first time in a very long time, because of that appearance, he drove the news cycle for 2 or 3 days. Sure. And that's a win.
Yeah. But no meat on the bone when it came to really politics, as far as I can
Despite
tell.
all the talk of what weightlifting does to build me. Yeah, no. I mean, look, Rogan was about what we call aggregation of audience, right? Getting everybody to talk about it. And people talked about how he looked and how he sounded. And the blistering critique of Poilievre is, he's been too much of a pugilist and not enough of a prime minister. And I think he tried to look and sound more like a statesman, and he wasn't going to get a hell of a lot of pushback from Joe Rogan, given Rogan's depth and knowledge of Canadian politics is not great. And when Rogan moved forward on some of the crazy crackpot stuff about Castro being Justin Trudeau's father and all that, Poilievre pushed that back.
Yeah, didn't bite. Tim Powers, listen, what a treat it's been. Again, I can't thank you enough, my friend. And let's at some point meet up. You got my number. I got your number. When you're in Halifax, my door is open to you. I'd love to have you over for a barbecue, my wife and I, or whatever. Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
I can bring some beer, buddy. I love you. It's been fun, and we'll talk soon. Thank you very much, pal. And thank you for the contribution you've made.
Okay, pal. Take care. Tim Powers, Summa Strategies, Abacus Data, and will continue to be a friend of the show, as the show will continue, as Dan talked about when we kicked off the show. Speaking of a massive contribution and a good friend, Clinton Wilkins, when we come back. All right, joining me here in studio is the one and the only Clinton Wilkins, our mortgage guru. Clinton Wilkins, you knew that you were the first on my list when I was planning this last show.
You know what? I would change my entire schedule to be here. And while we were on break, I'm like, 8 years really is a long time. It was 2018 when we started doing our weekend show here.
Yeah.
And, so much has changed over the last 8 years.
Yeah.
In the news with us personally, there's been marriages, there's been breakups, there's been buying and selling of real estate and businesses and all kinds of interesting stuff.
Health challenges on my behalf.
Health, for sure. Yeah. And, we're 8 years older.
That's right.
I think we still look pretty good, though.
Well, yeah, you're looking good.
I don't feel a day over 33, but my government age, as you know, much higher.
Have you ever lied about your age?
No.
Never?
No. Internally, I feel 33.
You're 41 or 2?
43. I'll be 44.
444.
I don't feel a day over 33, though. No. That's what I internalized.
Yeah.
And I don't know if 33 was just a magical year or something, but I feel good.
But you know what? There are lessons to be learned here because when you talk mortgages, everything dovetails into it. Health and look, people, when you put products in front of people, you put insurance products in front of them, right?
Definitely.
And case in point, me right now. I am fortunate to be working for a company which has short-term disability, has long-term disability, which I am taking advantage of, and thank God I have it.
Because not a lot of people do, to be frank.
That's right.
And the bulk of Canadians are underinsured. Now, I'm not an insurance salesperson. I'm knowledgeable about insurance, and we do offer creditor insurance to all our mortgage customers that are qualifying. But there's a magic formula that people should have 8 or 10 times their annual income in insurance, and so many Canadians are underinsured. We've had Mario Coultier from Manulife MVP here on our show, and you've interviewed him before. And I think there's a stigma around taking creditor insurance, but the way that we kind of present it is, let's worry about the debt. And, Manulife would also pay a penalty if there was going to be a life claim. And, the whole life and term, that's really what's going to protect the income. When you spoke to it, people need short term, they need long term, they need a whole life, they need, term insurance, they need credit insurance. It's all based on that financial outlook. And, our show, Mortgage 101, which we started.
Talks out about endless conversations.
And it's not just about mortgage lending. And I think people think about a mortgage show.
Right.
And, when we started this over 8 years ago on the weekend, we're like, okay, we're going to do one season. And we're going to say everything there is going to be to say about mortgage lending, and then we're going to be done. That's boring. It's a boring subject. But guess what? Buckle up, folks. Things really have changed over the last 8 years, and there's so many conversations about real estate and about mortgage lending. And when we're talking about insurance, we talk about everything on the show that we started.
Yeah. And you're so incredibly passionate about it. And that, I think, is what is the secret sauce, really.
I think it makes it interesting. I am not a trained media person. I'm a mortgage broker. I see clients every single day.
You've never seen a microphone you didn't love.
That's true. I always joke. I'm like, I've never seen a mic I didn't like. So I don't know if is that a double entendre or what is that? I don't know.
or a camera.
It might be. That's true. But you know what? Under very good leadership and coaching, I mean, you've cracked me into shape a couple times. Yeah. And given me a lot of feedback over the years, sure. and it really kind of shaped the show. We've changed it. We've had live calls. We have had guests, and we've been on location.
What do you think you've learned from doing this for all these years? What have you learned?
I think one of the things that I learned is I really have to be up on my craft. Yes, I'm seeing clients all day long, but I need to have a broader outlook. I think sometimes when you're doing one thing, you have blinders on. You don't see everything else that's going on around you, and I'm not a media person. I've fumbled. I've said the wrong word. I've, said too many times. You just need to forge forward, especially when you're doing live media. It doesn't matter if it's TV or radio. Be the expert in whatever you're talking about and just try to deliver that as, effectively and I think authentically as you can.
How often do you hear from people who listen to the show or hear you on a radio station?
All the time. I would say this is probably the number one thing, and I'm sure our listeners, they've seen me on TV, they've seen billboards. You really can't get away from us. Like you were joking, you were in Moncton. He's like, I saw your mug.
Face. I was like, what the hell? Like Clinton Wilkins' face right there.
I know, you can't get away from me. Yeah. It's really about being in the right place at the right time, and this is a very long sales cycle widget. And for us, it's around education. And as much as it may be marketing and sales, yes, we don't get paid unless we lend people money. For me, I'm so passionate about the education piece and really being an advocate for our industry. Housing is so important. It doesn't matter if you're a homeowner or you're a renter. We want people to have a house and we want people to have a roof over their heads. That's really what our number one goal is here. Yes, I'm biased. I want to get the mortgage and I want to lend people mortgages every single day. That's my business. I want to continue that. I want to make sure that the industry is going to be protected. But the financial literacy overall of Canadians is very, very low. When I started doing this 20 years ago, 60% of mortgages were happening in the branch. But as you know, there's less and less branches, and there's less and less folks in the branches. There's just such a huge turnover. And those numbers really had shifted. I heard a stat the other day, 90% of first-time home buyers are getting a mortgage from a mortgage broker, which is wild and wonderful, and all kinds of fun stuff going on here in the studio.
Indeed. We've been bombarded by politics.
I know. Well, you know what? It's all good. We always like live radio. You just have to keep on rolling.
Well, my gosh, I guess so, eh? So Clinton Wilkins, I guess when the premier comes in, it's
I know.
Unfortunately,
it's all good, and we've met several times before, all over the place. It's really interesting, and I'm so passionate about the show that we do, and it's going to continue along. And Dan was so gracious to step in, during the periods that you were off, and we're going to keep this show going, which is amazing.
All right, so Mortgage 101, your guide to home ownership goes when? When's the next one? Do you know? You must know.
The next one's in April. We're recording it in a couple weeks, and we'll be here in the studio doing a good promo. And Dan's so gracious to keep that torch going. But Todd, I really do thank you for all the kindness that you've shown me, and all of the knowledge that we've been able to give our listeners around homeownership and mortgage lending here in the province.
I consider you a seriously good friend. You're a kind guy. You're a true Maritimer. And you're an inspiration. You're a self-made man, and congratulations on all your All your success, my friend. Let's talk. Let's keep in touch.
Thanks, Todd.
Okay, that's Clinton Wilkins, our mortgage guru. And the Premier is in the house. Mr. Premier, hello.
Good to see you, buddy. Listen, I just wanted to stop by and wish you all the best. It's been an absolute pleasure. Over 13 years I've been elected, and I think for some of that time we got along. For some of that time we didn't get along, but through it all, man, you're a great person. I wish you all the best, man. I wanted to come here and say that.
Well, listen, I can't tell you how much it means to me to have you come in. It really means a lot, and you brought somebody on being. I mean, this is a thrill. It quite honestly is, and a big surprise. So you said that obviously there are times when you wouldn't have agreed with what I've said. I'm guessing, but there are times when I'm sure that you thought that, hey, right on, that resonates with me.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's the thing in this role. Like you hear different perspectives all the time, and quite often there are things that you think, wow, I didn't think of that angle, or I didn't think of that ramification. I mean, that's the reality of it, and you've been good over the years of pointing out different perspectives, and I think you've been fair. Mm-hmm. You've been honest, been frank, maybe a little too frank sometimes, but that's okay. Yeah. But through it all, man, much love and incredible respect for you as a person, but also as a professional.
Wow. I'm not sure what else I can say. Mr. Premier, I thank you so very much for taking the time to come in and sharing it. Our listeners always love to hear from you. You know that, right? By the way, when you have the appearances here and you go out in the public, do you hear people mention it?
Yeah, as soon as I leave here and turn my phone on, I have messages. You have a wide listener base, and I get messages right away, and certainly people will mention something that they heard on here. Some perspective or something I said, but no, it's a great. I like coming in studio too, for that whole experience. But I love those open hours too, and we'll be back and do one of those soon too. But you'll be listening, I'm sure, because sometimes even you text into Dan when I'm on and say and tell him things to. So I know that's not going to change.
Yeah, that's right. Mr.
Sure,
Premier,
man.
Tim Houston, thank you so much.
All the very best,
appreciate it
buddy.
very much. That's great stuff.
All
That's
the very
Tim
best.
Houston, the Premier of the province. We'll be back with your calls. All right, it is that time to take your calls. What is on your mind today? The way to reach us is 902-405-6000. Again, 902-405-6000. This is the last time I will be able to do this, folks, and it's been a real pleasure to take your calls and to engage with you in this way. It truly has been over the years. I've been blessed to do so. And it's a bit surreal right now, I'm not going to lie, but it's awesome. And for the Premier to stop in, that meant a lot. And of course, all our guests who we've had on so far today, Dr. John Gillis, Dr. Jeff Goodall, Rob Thacker, of course, Clinton Wilkins. It's been great. And let's hear from more of you as well. And look, you don't have to call to talk about me. You can talk about whatever issue you'd like to get into. It's an open hour, folks. 902-405-6000. That is the way to reach us. And Mayor Andy Fillmore is giving us a call. Hello, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for calling.
Hey, Todd. How are you, my friend? It's great to be chatting with you this morning.
Indeed. Thanks for taking the time to call. I appreciate it very much.
You got it. Look, I couldn't let the moment go by without I just wanted to call and say thank you for everything that you've done for HRM. Look, you've been a voice of the city for so many years. I've tuned into the show in the morning over the years, but in this morning, though, I just have noticed listening to it, hearing some of the regular callers share their stories and praise, and I just want to echo everything that they've said. You've been fantastic in that chair.
Well, I appreciate it. Do you ever listen and when perhaps I've been critical, kind of thought, oh, why is he being that way or whatever? Do I ever get under your skin unintentionally?
I mean, I've heard you be critical once or twice. I mean, I think when we first got to know each other, you were skeptical of me. I think I warmed your heart, though, buddy. But I will say, maybe I'm making assumptions there.
Nope.
But look, I will say you've held our feet to the fire as elected officials, and you've always advocated for the taxpayer, and that's a really important thing to be doing.
Mr. Mayor, I know you're busy, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much, my good friend. Take care.
Okay, we'll see you around the neighborhood.
All right,
Cheers for now.
all right, take care. 902-405-6000. That is the way to reach us. And what would a day be without a call from Gloria? Gloria, I'm so glad you called. Thank you.
Oh, Todd, it's so great to hear your voice. And I'm so sad, Todd, that we won't be having you back full time. You know, I really miss you. You left big shoes to fill, Todd. You did a great job. Dan's trying, but he's not there. And you were fair, Todd, and you always listened to people, and of course, you had your opinion, which you should have. But we're really going to miss you, Todd. And I want to tell you, nobody can fill your shoes.
Well, Gloria, listen,
And I know Kelly will take good care of you.
That's for sure. Listen, Gloria, I can't tell you how much that means to me, and the fact that you took the time to call today means so much. And look, it takes time for people to grow into these roles. I mean, when I took over,
it does. Everybody has their own style.
When I took over for Rec, there wasn't, there was a lot of that too, right? So it takes time, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Oh well, you fit in there well, Todd, and you did a great job, and we'll really miss you. So you stay well, Todd.
Gloria, I will stay as well as I can, and when I'm not feeling well, that your message will echo in my head. You stay well, Todd.
I'm in your corner. I'm pulling for you, Todd. You stay positive, stay well. And thank you ever so much for being there for us.
All right. You're a true gem, Gloria. Thank you.
Bye-bye, Todd.
See you later. 902-405-6000. Andrew Holland calling. I know Andrew Holland, a Red Sox fan. How are you, friend?
Excellent. How are you today?
Doing well.
I just wanted to add my voice to the many today to acknowledge your outstanding contributions to broadcast journalism and public policy, giving things a fair shake and a hearing over many years, whether it was on the previous stations out of New Brunswick, producing the talk shows, lining up guests through your other podcasts, this show. You've given an awful lot to different groups, organizations, levels of government throughout the Maritimes and shining light on national stuff too. And I take severe umbrage with your support for the New York Yankees, but besides that, I just want to wish you the nothing but the very best, because you've been a real contributor to public discourse in our region.
Well, Andrew, you've been a huge supporter of me, as you said when I was podcasting. You subscribed to my podcast. You supported my podcast monetarily. You've always been there, and again, ideologically, I'm sure we haven't always aligned, but I think you respect that, right? And that's part of the give and take of the whole thing, right?
Well, that's exactly it. I think that we can respectfully discuss issues and have differing perspectives and viewpoints. That's the way it should be. But you've enabled that through your programs and through your guests, not only on this show, but others previously. And, that's not always the case. It's been with elsewhere in Canada. You hear people's concern about fake news and, what to believe, and AI, the growth of AI, and what's truth and what's believable. But giving people, your listeners, people a forum to hear conversations, it sort of reinforces the value of broadcasting and hearing perspectives. And people, I think there's a real thirst for that. When people have questions about fake news and AI and wondering what's authentic, you're authentic, and you give people a chance to at least hear different sides of an issue and come up with their own conclusions. So I just, again, want to wish you nothing but health and happiness and a good road ahead.
Andrew, I appreciate the call, bud. I really do. And Red Sox suck. Got to say it one more time.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting American League East this year. I think that the Jays might come down a little bit. I think they got a lot of contributions from people last year. I think they played a little bit over their heads. But we'll see. It should be some fun baseball to watch over the next 6 months.
Okay, pal. Appreciate all the kind words, my friend. Take care.
You as well. All the best.
All right, take care. 902-405-6000. David Hensby. Hello, David.
Hello there, TV on the radio.
What's going on, man?
Well, I'm sorry to hear this is your last show, but just wanted to call in and say thank you very much for your service for all these many years. I can tell you that you deserve all these bouquets. You threw enough bricks in the past, so now it's time for your bouquets, I guess you could say. But I just want to say thank you for your service once again. I know news radio's been there for District 2 all the time. We have wildfires or big storms or significant weather events. You guys are always there for us, and I want to say thank you for that.
Well, David, we want to thank you as well because you've always been the guy that's been there when we needed somebody. You're always willing to pick up the phone if, in fact, we're short on a guest or something talking municipal politics. You're a straight shooter, a good guy, a true Maritimer, a great Eastern Shore guy, and just true blue Nova Scotian, and I love you.
But I'm also a Red Sox and Brewers fan, too.
I know. I'll let that one go, though.
All right. All the best, Todd.
Okay, pal. Take care.
Bye.
All right. 902-405-6000. That's the way to reach us. Gary. Hello, Gary.
Good morning, Todd. It's great to hear your voice, buddy.
Great to be heard.
Yeah. Anyway, Todd, I'm just speaking as just an elderly person, and I really appreciate the time that you've given the ACE team. There was lots of times that we sent out a media release, and you were the first to jump on and give us lots of good airtime and really good exposure, Todd. It's something that the elderly don't get enough of. And when it does, it's only a 24-hour news cycle, and it's gone again. You heard the thing over the pandemic where, everything had to be done for the elderly and long-term care. Some things have materialized, but overall, Todd, we're almost back to where we were pre-pandemic. But I want to thank you again, and it's you're going to be missed. I can tell you. And Dan does a good job, but you're the man. Anyway, Todd, you take care.
Well, Gary, listen, before I let you go, I want to thank you for your tireless advocacy for such an amazing cause. As somebody who is in the shadows of the baby boomers myself, it becomes increasingly important to know how important it is to take care of the elderly. And your endless, tireless work can't be understated or overstated. It is just unbelievable what you've done for the community. And thank you so much, Gary, for always being an advocate of the show and taking the time to send me those releases and to your endless, tireless work. Thank you, my friend.
Well, thank you so much for the kind words, Todd, and hope to hear from you again in the future on the show.
Okay, Gary. Thanks, pal.
Take care.
Take care. 902-405-6000. What is on your mind today? Again, give us a buzz. 902-405-6000. We'll be back. All right. Again, the last show, folks. This is it for me. This is my swan song, as they say. Retiring, I guess. Yes, I'll have more to talk about at the end of the show about all of that. So I will not go down that road yet because I don't want to be emotional. I want to try and be cool and calm and be newsy, be a news guy. We'll see how long that lasts. Meanwhile, we're taking your calls. Give us a buzz, folks. 902-405-6000. Rick, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. Still got a pulse. Oh, jeez. You never thought. Anyway, look, I'm ditto on, what everybody else has already said and will say. But I was sitting there thinking while I'm, waiting to get on. I used to have a saying with you that I kind of thought was kind of clever at the time, and it described what you used to do, and it was called the Veinotte Vice.
Yes.
And it was basically an intellectual, thing where you sort of laid out the inaccuracies or the inconsistencies of some particular argument that was being presented to you. So I thought, well, why don't you just, consider the idea and maybe once a month, doing a just something at your house. You could just do it and send it in, and like Steve Murphy does, right? Or used to do. I don't know what he's doing anymore, but anyway, that's just a thought that I had while I was sitting here. One of the main reasons I called was just to say that I remember talking to you when you were producing Tom Young about my old truck, and anyway, I still have it, so you know that anyway. But the first day that you started your Saturday weekend show, not when you replaced Rick, but prior to that, I was your first caller, reminding you that I talked to you in, whatever year that was. So anyway, it's been kind of a full circle, but I'd still like to hear your voice and your opinions, and it doesn't have to be a regular thing, but occasionally you could delight us with your thoughts on any particular subject.
Well, Rick, listen, if in fact the powers that be would want me to come in and do a half-hour segment here and there, I would certainly be happy to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, you got my vote.
And the old truck's still running. I got to get over and I got to go over for a ride in that old truck sometime.
Well, we had a 50th birthday party. I don't want to talk too much about my truck, but since it was the first thing that I had talked to you about 20 years ago, it's still, it just doesn't just run. It's looking great, sounding great, and I had a 50th birthday party for the truck in September of last year when it turned 50. And as you know, and many people know, I bought that truck new. So people used to joke, who's going to last longer, Rick? You or the truck? And I used to laugh. And now I'm not so sure. Anyway.
And of course, Rick, for those who don't know, Rick you were a great athlete in your day and a great musician as well, and still are. So people should just giving you a little, let people know that you have many talents, my friend.
Well, thanks a lot. Just one caveat of that is the lacrosse team I played on the 1973 Canada Games silver medal team from 1973, I think I just said that, has been inducted into the Maritime Sport Hall of Fame.
Nice.
Not
Congratulations.
the Nova Scotia one. We're still waiting on that one. So a little bit of a, for the guys, it's great.
Nice.
Most of us are still alive. So
nice feather.
That's great. Okay, Todd.
Thanks, bud.
Take care, buddy.
All right, take care. 902-405-6000. Paul Bennett's giving us a call. Hello, Paul Bennett.
How are you, Todd?
I'm well. We've had many great conversations over the years about school.
We have, and
education.
It was sad news to me because I know you so well in terms of just listening to you and appreciating your viewpoints. And you mean a lot to talk radio. I thought I'd call in, and I know everyone's going to heap you with praise, and it's all well-deserved, but I just want to make a few comments. I think what I really appreciated about what you did was you put your own stamp on the show. You were yourself. You no pretense, down to earth, and you made everyone feel at home. And that's quite a challenge. One of the things I've learned, because I call a lot of talk shows and I'm interviewed all the time, is you must have learned from Tom Young to, listen and voice your opinions, but be respectful of people. And I think, the open line segment, which we're on right now, is so vitally important because it's really the only thing left that people have to voice their views. There's all over the place. Institutions are closing down. There's no way of input. But you've always been open. You've kept this 1 hour, which I think is critical. And, you're open to anyone, and it's unfiltered, which is rare these days. And, Todd, I think that's a tribute to you, staying real. You really kept it the last remaining town hall in Nova Scotia. And I thank you for everything you've done. And I wish you well. And my thoughts are with you for sure in the future.
All right, Paul. Listen, and again, a lot of the really insightful work that you've done regarding education and trying to move the needle and trying to raise the alarm bells of a direction that education is going, which is heading in the wrong direction in many ways. And that's tough, right? Because I don't think you've ever wanted to besmirch or bemoan teachers themselves or people who are frontline workers. It's never been about that, right? It's been more about policy.
I'm glad you spotted that because I'm very careful to suggest that these are critiques of the system and we all are in common want to see improvements and we need to work together. That's kind of the underlying message. And then I've always, in my columns and my commentaries, people say I always end with something constructive. This is what I think should be done. I rarely raise critiques without offering some suggestions. Now, you may not like them, you may debate them, but there'll always be something like that. And I credit you with giving a voice to anyone, which I think is rare these days. So, Todd, thank you so much. I'm going to join the line of people that are a little sad that you're leaving, but hope to hear from you again. I hope you'll call in, because I know you believe in talk radio.
Okay, Paul. Appreciate it, pal.
All right.
Take care. 902-405-6000. Jim. Hello, Jim.
How you doing, Todd?
I'm doing well, bud. You?
Congratulations on your retirement, at least semi-retirement.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're going to be missed, and I want to thank you for allowing me to voice my opinion. And your station is probably the number one station in the province, and if not further. And, I've always felt and I've always thought that you had true grit, I call it. You're honest and you're straightforward and always like that. And you allowed me to voice my opinion many times.
Well, you talk about grit. We love grit. That's what talk radio is all about, and you certainly bring it. You invoke a reaction from people, Jim. And that's what I love about certain people, certain callers, and talk radio in general. Is because it gets people thinking, and the reaction is what we're after, right? And that gritty reaction, but respectfully, Jim. I think that you and I have always had, and you and Rick, and you and Dan. There's always been a healthy respect there, which I think is important.
Yes. Well, thank you for sure. And without your voice. And your professionalism, not only on radio but before that, you bring another avenue for the voice of the people, because the people don't have many voices anymore. With social media, you don't know if it's legitimate or not. But when you got a host like yourself that's not afraid to speak his mind and differ with opinions, it means the world to us. So, congratulations, you and your family, and the future is bright. I hope you take care, buddy.
Okay, Jim, take care, bud. Take care. Thanks. 902-405-6000. Give us a call, folks. We're going to do this for another half hour. By the way, we're getting lots of emails. Emails coming into Dan's account, and I don't have an email account anymore here because just the way things went logistically. So you can't send me emails. But keep sending them in, and we're going to read them all, and we love the love, as they say. Speaking of love the love, give us a call, 902-405-6000. Got some room for you, 902-405-6000. The open hour continues when we come back. All right, continuing with your calls, 902-405-6000. Again, 902-405-6000. This being the last opportunity that I will have to do this, to take your calls, because this is my farewell show. 902-405-6000. Give us a call if you'd like to talk about that or some other issues, whatever you've got on your mind. 902-405-6000. That is the way to get in on the fun. Sandra, hello.
Oh, happy Friday, Todd.
Happy Friday indeed.
I feel a little honored, I guess, to be calling in. I certainly can't match what all the other callers have said to you today, but I do want to thank you for your service, to the public over the radio all these years, and, for your intelligence and your persistence on issues that affect all of us, as a society or just a citizen of this province and city. There's whether it's been, unfortunate incidences like the mass murder or Nova Scotia Power, always bringing in issues that, Premier Houston and former premiers, have laid out for the public. And, sometimes a lot of that is discord, public transit, fracking, everything that, involves our everyday life. But one thing I want to say, and I don't know if other callers have ever noticed, but I often found that you subliminally would make a comment relating to the environment and the future of the health of the planet, and you would make a comment and just bring it into a discussion that was generally not related to that. And I always caught on to that, and I was always hoping, okay, more callers have to pick up on what you just said and make that a more of a discussion. So I just feel that you feel like I do in that sense, and I really hope that your successors are able to continue to bring issues related to the environment and future health of the planet to the table. Even today when you were talking to Rob Thacker, you brought up fossil fuels, right?
Yeah.
Just sort of an unconnected issue.
Yeah.
And I really, really appreciated that from you. I just even want to say, on a positive note, you've even invited children to the show a couple of times. And, it's very important for us to listen to our kids because, they are the future and they will be running our world long after you and I are gone. And I am a little older than you. So it's, that's so important for us to hear from the younger generations. And one other thing, and I haven't heard it since you've been off on a regular basis, but you a couple times would also have an hour or a day where we just all call in and we listen to music all day. And I always appreciated how much you also loved music and would allow us to share that on the show. So thank you for everything.
Sandra, some of those music shows were the highlights of my time doing this show, and Vanessa made it happen. Really, she did. But yeah, those music shows were so much fun. Absolutely love them, including the Christmas ones. And thank you so much for your kind words and for taking the time to call. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you too. Again, very much appreciate it.
All right, take care. 902-405-6000. Kate, hello, Kate.
Hi, Todd.
Hi there.
This is Katrine. I don't know which name you know me better by, but Roland and I just want to say we're sorry to hear that you're going. We're going to miss your voice and all your opinions and everything like that, everything that people have said. And we just want to wish you all the best and all the best to you and Kelly.
I thank you so very, very much for your kind words, Kate. Thank you. Thanks for taking the time to call.
All right, thanks.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
902-405-6000. Carl, hello.
Hey, Todd. Boy, we're going to miss you, buddy.
Thanks, pal.
And I had the opportunity to meet you a couple times, and one time at Barely's. And are you still thumping the bass?
Yeah, I'm still thumping away at her.
Awesome. Yeah, have you had a chance to see the new Barely's location?
No, I haven't actually. How is it?
It's kind of smaller. It's a smaller place, but I like it. I think it's. I'm sure they're paying much higher rent.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean that's a legendary place, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway, I really enjoyed you thumping the bass when I met you at Barely's at one time, and I'm glad that you're going to be sticking to doing it.
Yeah, I'll do my best, Carl. You do what you can with what you've got, right? That's what life's all about.
Hey, man, that's right. That's what makes us stronger, and we one way or another we got to make it work, right? So
that's right, pal. You got to battle on. You got to battle through it. That's one thing that I've learned is life ain't easy and life ain't fair sometimes. But you know what? You make the best of it. And
all the best to you and Kelly, man.
Okay, pal. Thanks for the call.
All right. Have a good day.
All right, take care. 902-405-6000. That is the way to reach us. EFO. Hello, EFO.
Hey, how are you today?
I'm doing well. You?
I am good. I usually don't cry, and I'm not going to cry, but I'm going to say we will miss you. So I don't even know what else to say except that has already been said. But yes, you've been very important for Nova Scotia and for Halifax, and we will miss you. We will miss you deeply. But that's really all I can say.
And Nifo, I will miss you as well. I certainly will. I'll miss all the calls. And look, I can I can honestly say you and I have had many good conversations. We've certainly not agreed every time, but that's not a bad thing. But you've always been a respectful caller, and you've always been somebody who has respected my job and what I'm trying to do, and I commend you for that, because not everybody has done that.
Well, thank you. Oh, one last thing. I hear a rumor that we live in the same neighborhood, and the other rumor is that I'm a really, really, really good cook. So sometime if you and your wife are down for a barbecue or some African food, Vanessa has my number. Feel free to swing by. I cook all the time, 24/7. Just call me and I'll hook you up.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right, take care.
Thanks, pal. Take care. 902-405-6000. That is the way to reach us. Topher, hello.
Good morning, Planet Earth. And for the last time, hello, Todd.
Hello, sir.
Listen, Todd, you've climbed that ladder all the way to the big chair, and you've always had your constructive criticism. You've sat squarely in the middle of that fence. I've never missed an episode when you and Rick got into the ring on Fridays and bashed it out. It was always the banter. Look, you've always brought passion plus to everything you've done. I don't know how Rob Snow is going to know anything now because he's not able to listen to the Todd Veinotte show. But listen, Todd, you've always given me my 120 seconds. I guess I'm going to do less than that today. But thank you, Todd Veinotte, for being you on behalf of Cape Breton Mike, American Tony, Bill Mont, and Rick Cow. You've held that torch of freedom. I guess now it's time for you to pass that torch on to someone else. And all the best to you, Todd. And like this, anybody of us have is today is the present. It's a gift. That's all we have. If you can enjoy the rest of your time, like this chapter ends, it ends with everybody. It's just the way it is. But Todd, listen, thank you so much for being Todd Veinotte.
Thank you, Topher. I appreciate your word. I truly do. The humbling words. Thank you, my friend.
You're very welcome.
All right,
Todd.
take care. 902-405-6000. And that's true. We lost 3 regular callers in 1 week, and when I was off. And Tony, of course, who I've had many conversations with. Bill Mont, who left me a gift, by the way, which I have here in my hand. It's a small kind of, well, I can't really describe it, but it's a golf gift. And Mike from Cape Breton passed, all on the same week. Unbelievable. 902-405-6000. That's the way to reach us. Again, 902-405-6000. Don, hello.
Good morning, Mr. Todd. How you doing?
I'm well, you?
Not too bad, not too bad. What about our Leafs? Are they ever going to do a management clean-out?
Yeah, well, the Leafs need a massive clean-out for sure.
Well, they need head office clean-out from Pelly right down to the coach, and then Matthews, and then they're going to get Todd Veinotte to do our radio announcing from Halifax here. That will make a delight for everybody. We'll get more people onto it, okay? But Todd, thanks very much, like the rest of us. Thanks very much. You're really there for us. And I know you were there for the special need people, seriously. And we got something in common. You know what that is, don't you? Me and you?
Yeah.
Hello. That mine's working great. I hope yours will work great in the future.
Well, we both have Parkinson's disease, and that's what we have in common. And we both had deep brain stimulation.
Not trying to correct you. No, I don't have that, Tom. I have, like a lot of people, you have that, unfortunately. But I have, it's called sciatica, right? And I know that there, and that's what was telling Todd, it's a simulator. It goes in your back, and it goes to various parts of your body, the wiring. It doesn't hurt. Some of the doctors that we have down here is best around anywhere in the countries. And but mine is controlled for the last 3 years now. I know what sciatica is. Yeah. I feel for people that got it legitimately. Yeah. I know some people got Parkinson's disease in the track, you know what I mean? And I know a couple of people right now, they're walking along and not, I don't want to go into too much, but they do tremendous work at QE2. We both agree on that.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, so my apologies. I was under the impression that you
No,
had Parkinson's as well.
Don't worry about that.
But
You get me back sometimes.
But nonetheless, the technology has done wonders for me in that it is really my tremors and my shaking are really under control. Very good. But Parkinson's is a tough disease, Ed, or rather, sorry, Don.
Yeah.
And
you know what? One thing about you though, I mean this not as a joke, but it's just if you're on the floor dancing, you turn off the machine, you'd be a good dancer, wouldn't you?
There you go, Don.
I'm being smart with you, Todd. But anyway,
little levity is always a good thing. Thanks for the call, Don. I appreciate it very much.
Hey, look, one more little thing. All the way with the PCs, federally and provincially. You know that, don't you? With me.
Okay, pal. Take care.
Thanks, Don.
All right. 902-405-6000. That is the way to get a hold of us. Again, 902-405-6000. We'll continue with your calls when we come back. All right, by the way, a real treat for you on the last Todd Veinotte show. Steve Murphy will join us over between noon and 12:30 from the Dominican Republic. So Steve Murphy will join me, and I look forward to that. Have a good chat with Steve, and we've got Alistair coming in to talk weather. We have sports with Cecil, and I will have some closing comments as well, as you would imagine, on a day like this. So, in the meantime, let's continue to take your calls. 902-405-6000. Sylvain Charlebois, the food professor. Hello, sir.
Hey, how are you, Todd?
I'm doing well, bud. You?
Listen, I called in a show twice in my life. The first time was on your show with Alistair. That was last year about the weather and how it would impact farmers. And this is the second time. And you're worth it, man. Listen, I've been thinking about you a whole lot. Dan has been doing a great job, sitting in for you over the last several weeks. But when I moved to Halifax 10 years ago, one of the first voices I've heard was yours, and you made me feel at home right here in Nova Scotia. And I owe a lot to you. My family owes a lot to you, and the fact that you're very open about your disease shows to everyone that you have a lot of courage, my friend, and you have a lot of respect for me and my family. I just wanted to let you know.
Wow! Sylvain, it's humbling words. I appreciate it, my friend. It's emotional, and to hear you say that, I don't know what else to say, but thank you.
Listen, even if you're going off the air, we're still going to think about you, and you have all the love in the world from my family.
Thanks, pal. And you've always been a great guest as well, and always somebody that's been willing to be on the edge when it comes to policy and not afraid to speak your mind, and I love that. Thank you.
No problem. I did learn that from you, my friend, because you always we knew where you stood, but you were always respectful about other people's opinion, and we love you for that.
Okay. Wow. Thanks, Sylvain. I appreciate it, buddy. Talk soon.
All right. Take care.
Take care. 902-405-6000. That is the way to reach us. Barry, hello. Hi, Barry.
Good morning, Todd. I just want to say thanks for your broadcast and all the variety. Especially, I remember a little girl talking about astrophysics, and I remember Tony quite well, too. And we moved here in 2021, and we got to learn about HRM from your show. So life goes on, but thanks for this, and have a good sign-off.
Okay, Barry. Thanks, pal. Appreciate it. Take care. 902-405-6000. Eric. Hello, Eric.
Hey, Todd, how you doing?
I'm doing well, bud. Nice to hear your voice, bud. Nice to hear your voice.
Yeah, when we're not arguing with each other about different topics.
No, it is nice to hear your voice. I mean that sincerely, Eric.
No, I know you do. I'm just joking. I want you to know that I appreciated our conversations over the years, even the ones in some of the points where I got a little wrangly and we differed. But I want you to know that I always thought you were a decent person, and the last gentleman there, Chalabois, when he was talking about courage, my mom had MS for 42 years, which is a neurological disorder as well. So it does take a lot of courage to go through, but you're a good man, and I think that you'll be fine, you and your wife. And the other thing is, you got to give Toronto a break, Todd. If they're going to win the Stanley Cup, you got to start hoping for Montreal.
Oh my gosh! Listen, the Leafs haven't won the cup in my lifetime. Not since 1967, pal. I ain't hold my breath. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was alive then, and when they won the last Stanley Cup. Anyway, so listen, I wish you well, and you know how I am when it comes to faith. I wish you and Kelly the peace of Christ, and I hope you get to know him in your life. So I wish you well, my friend.
Thanks, bud. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, 902-405-6000. This is getting difficult to be emotional. Brandon, hello.
Hello, Todd. Just calling from up in Dubert, man. It's been a great time listening to you. Ever since I moved back from BC, I developed epilepsy, and that was great to hear you have Cassidy Megan on the radio.
Yeah, brave young girl.
Absolutely. I've got to know her quite well. And she's helped me learn a lot. Your show's helped me learn so much, man. I got to say, just the breadth of knowledge and information of the guests and yourself. This is, I got to say, it's a hard sign-off for me anyway. This is only my second time calling in, but anyway.
Well,
Listen every day.
Brandon, I appreciate it so very much, and for somebody who's dealing with a neurological disease, I've got certainly a lot of empathy, and I understand the battle, my friend. The battle is real, but the battle can be won and will be won, right?
That's right. Every single day, my friend. I have a lot of sympathy and take a lot of courage from you, I guess I could say. That's all I'll say.
Okay, pal. Thanks for the call, bud.
Cheers, man.
Okay, take care. 902-405-6000. Jim Cormier is giving us a call. Hello, Jim.
Hey, Todd. How are you?
I'm well, bud. You?
Good. Look, I'm just running between meetings. I'm in my car, and I heard the show, so I just thought I really wanted to call in just to wish you all the best, and thank you for your many years of being behind the mic. We always appreciated the opportunity with Retail Council where you could get us on the show and always ask the tough questions, but we appreciated the venue and the opportunity. So I just wanted to thank you for being you and for doing a great job over your years behind the mic.
Thanks, Jim. You did a great job and represent the Retail Council very well, and I'm sure that your members would second that comment.
Well, look, again, I don't want to take up time because I'm sure there's lots of other people that want to wish you well. So just all the best, and again, thank you for everything.
Okay, pal. Take care. Ed, hello.
Oh, hi, Todd. I just want to say that thank you for coming on the show today and giving all of us the opportunity to say thanks. We don't know each other. We've got some mutual friends, but I think like everybody who listens feels like they know you. We've listened to you for a long time, and I just get the sense that, hearing these accolades is probably just about the most uncomfortable thing that could possibly have happened for you. But
that's true.
It's all well deserved. Thank you so much for the time you put in. You're an intelligent and a compassionate man. I wish you and Kelly the best.
Thank you, my friend. Truly, I appreciate it. Thank you. Take care. David, hello.
Hi, Todd. It's David Jones.
Hi, David. How are you, pal?
I'm pretty good. It's really nice to hear your voice. And all these comments have been spot on, and I'll never forget when I was on the radio with you one day talking about history, and you said, wait a minute, Stephen McNeil is retiring. And I went, oh, shit, you better get rid of me. So you went and covered that. That was pretty memorable. But I thank you for all the times that we talked about history when you were filling in for Rick and when you took over, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks, buddy, and thanks for all that you've done as well for the community. You've done a lot when it comes to educating us about this fine city that we live in and our history and your passion for history, and it's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Take
pal.
care.
All right, take care. Well, let's get one more on. Chris, you're the last one. Go ahead, Chris.
saving the best till last. Look,
That's
Todd,
right, bud.
this is a little different for me. I'm usually arguing with counselors, but I can't do anything but echo all the sentiments from everyone else. There's nothing I can add to that hasn't already been said. But on a personal note, I really appreciate all the times that you allowed me to say what I had to say or wanted to say. And I don't think you ever hung up on me. Not that we agreed on everything, but I don't think you ever hung up on me, and I really appreciate that.
That's good that we don't agree on everything, right? That's good. That's a good thing.
Well, I don't know. Listen, Todd, I'm doing my best to try and train Dan, and he's coming along pretty well. So I don't know if he's going to be filling the chair from now on or not. But I'm looking forward to hearing who is. But look, all the best to you in the future, and thank you so much for everything you've done for HRM.
Okay, bud. Thanks, pal. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Thanks for all the calls, everybody. I can't. Wow, it's hard to put into words how I feel right now. It truly is. But I got another hour to go, so I got to hold it together because I got to be a pro. Steve Murphy, when we come back. Well, what a pleasure it is to have the opportunity to chat with Steve Murphy. You all know Steve Murphy. Needs no introduction, but by the way, in case you don't know, he's a member of the Order of Canada. That ain't too shabby, eh, Steve Murphy? That's not a bad way to put on your business card. What do you think?
Well, you're kind to mention that, but I have to tell you today, as always, the pleasure is all mine speaking to you, Todd, and it's great to hear your voice. And a number of the callers I've been listening to over the past couple of hours have echoed something that I've been thinking, and that is that it is good to hear your voice, and your voice has been so synonymous with civil discussion and public discourse in the public square for so many years. And your absence has been noted. I've had all kinds of people ask me over the past few months, what do you know about Todd? How is Todd? Mm-hmm. And I think that what is really shining through, and I said this to Vanessa, the comments that we're hearing today, I think, are a reflection of the kind of contribution you've made to our community. And a couple of things come to mind, and I'm not trying to hog the conversation, but I do want to say these things. You've brought great humility to the show, but you brought great authenticity and civility. And something that I'm becoming increasingly concerned about as I follow all media, social media, conventional media, and otherwise, is the loss of civility in public discourse. And we've got to get back to it. And you have been a steward of civil public discourse, and I really highly commend you for it, my friend.
Well, thank you so much. And look, it none of it would be possible without the building blocks of who came before us, as you well know, with Tom Young, with Rick Howe, with Andrew Crystal, and the list goes on and on. And these are the giants that I've learned from, and I think that's what resonates through time, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting you say that because you and I happen to have many of those same people in common. Tommy Young was one of the first people who put up with me as a petulant kid in his newsroom. Rick Howe was somebody who spent more time than he probably should have trying to teach me how to do a job for which I had no training. Mm-hmm. And Rick was really responsible for my getting the opportunity of a lifetime to come to Halifax, where really life changed for me dramatically in 1980. But I also have great respect for all the other names you've mentioned. And there's a great tradition of talk radio in Halifax. And you are part of an unbroken chain, I think of about 65 years of talk radio on your station, on CHNS, on CJCH. All of these radio stations over the years have had the public square over which you now preside and have presided. But it goes back, I think, until the early 1960s, and I stand to be corrected on that and would gladly be corrected by Clary Fleming or somebody whose memory's longer and better than mine. But the point is, there has been an unbroken tradition of talk radio in Halifax. And Paul Bennett, I think, made some excellent comments in his remarks in the last hour about the importance of talk radio and the importance of the open line hour. And I'll tell you, and you may have experienced this, although I think that Dan and Mark Campbell and the others who've led 95.7 were very understanding of the importance of the open hour. Some radio programmers don't like the open hour. They don't like the idea that there's not a topic being imposed upon the audience by the host. But I think your format, and Rick started this, and Jordy did this, Andrew Crystal did it, the idea that the people get control of the airwaves for an hour every day for several hours a week, I think is crucial in society. And I think that it's something that we need to guard and protect and be very proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. There's one thing that I've learned, that if anybody ever came back on these airwaves and said, by the way, we're not doing an open hour anymore, you would get a massive backlash like nothing else. People would not stand for it.
You would. Well, sure you would.
And
for
thing
good
about reason.
Broadcasting licenses is, and the companies that run broadcasting are having a tough time because of the revenue model. But the public airwaves belong to the public, and licensees, Rogers, Bell, all of the companies, Stingray. We've got good broadcasting companies in the country, but they are custodians of the public airwaves. They don't own them. The public owns the public airwaves, and that's why it's so important that every so often the public, and the CBC does this. I'll give full marks to my pal Hannah Mansing, who does an open line program on Sundays, a national program. The point is the public needs to have the access to the public airwaves in the way that it once had more control, more access than it does today. So we need to guard and protect that.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, I had the honor of you filling in for me when I had my surgery a year or so ago, and that was a great honor of mine to have you do that. And I know I know that it was extremely well received. And to that, I just think that it for you being willing to do that and wanting to do that was a massive feather in my cap, and I mean that.
Well, thanks. But you know what it reminded me of, Todd, and I did talk radio. I had the pleasure of doing talk radio on CJCH for 7 years. What it reminded me, however, was how much work goes into preparing for talk radio, and preparing particularly for those open hours when anything can be said, anything can be raised, and the host, the Todd Veinotte, the Dan Alstrand, whoever is sitting behind that microphone, needs to be prepared to take on all comers and all subjects and have a reasonable understanding. I'm not saying complete knowledge of every minutiae, every minute detail, but have a broad enough knowledge base to talk about anything for an hour a day. And I'm going to say this in defense of everybody who toils in private broadcasting today. There aren't a lot of people doing the background work. You and Vanessa, Dan and Vanessa, you carry the weight of that program. There's not a huge production team at 95.7. There's not a huge production team backing CTV News. There are hardworking, good people doing a good job, but there are not a lot of people to do the work, and the people who do the work are doing a fine job.
Yeah, for sure, and of course, people like edge. There's something moth to the flame, whatever it is. People like a bit of edge, and there's nothing wrong with some edge, right?
No, nothing wrong with edge at all. The point is, the listeners, viewers, readers are way smarter than some people think. People have a real, I think, an instinct or a sense of when somebody is performing versus being themselves. And I think you've had the real grace and style to be yourself. My father, who was a very bright man, and I miss him every day, once said the best reason to be straight with people is because it's hard to keep track of who you lied to and what story you told. So, and it took me a long time, I guess, to get comfortable with the idea that just being yourself is the safest and the easiest way to be, because it's not a performance. It's just a reflection of who you are. And you've been brilliant at doing that. You've brought yourself, and one of your callers a few minutes ago said this, you were yourself on the radio, and people know that. Yeah. People know that.
Yeah. Kind words. What do you think the future of talk radio is? Is it solid? What are your thoughts on talk radio and the future?
Well, it's hard to know what the future of any media are. I mean, who would have predicted 15, 20 years ago that we'd be where we are today with interactive media, social media, where essentially every person who's got a telephone or a device has a platform and can publish their opinions pretty much willy-nilly, with or without accountability. A lot of that scares me, by the way. I love freedom of expression, but I believe in the responsibility that comes with freedom of expression, and I'm not sure that people are always exercising that responsibility. I would hope, and I think that we may see a move back to I don't even like to say traditional or mainstream media, but many people, I think, are becoming increasingly concerned about the veracity of information that's circulating in the unedited media of social platforms. And it does occur to me that many people, I think, may find themselves gravitating back to media sources which are accountable for what they publish. So that probably bodes well for traditional media and for talk radio. But again, I still come back to something that I've been saying, I guess, for quite a long time, probably boring people with this point. But the values of journalism really haven't changed. Accuracy, fairness, balance, and now I would add things such as moderation and civility, because I think we're losing those. But in the end, that is what we all need. We need information that's fair, accurate, balanced, that is moderated, edited, and for which people are willing to accept responsibility. And this is a critical part of it, to acknowledge errors and correct them quickly. That's more important than ever.
Yeah, and local. I mean, that is, people love their local news, and rightfully so, right? Big time.
Absolutely so. And we're still lucky in the Halifax area. We have a fairly robust local media community, and the reason is because we are such a large population center and a regional population center. We still have 3 local originating television stations, and people will say, "Oh, Murphy, television doesn't matter anymore." But television newsrooms, conventional newsrooms are still generating a lot of the content that you're getting, even when you're getting it online or on Instagram or on X or wherever you're getting it. We used to get it on Facebook, by the way, something that we need to get that fixed, because many people are still principally getting information from Facebook, and a lot of it's pretty bad. But my whole point is we're lucky that we still have some local media in the Halifax area because of our importance as a regional center.
Steve, we got a few more things I'd like to chat with you about. Hopefully you get a little bit of time. Do you mind holding and coming back?
Absolutely. My great pleasure, Tom.
Okay, all right. We'll be right back with Steve Murphy. All right, continuing our chat with Steve Murphy. Steve Murphy wanted to kind of get to some of the laundry lists that we usually do in the last few minutes that I have you with, because I mean I like to pick your brain, and
sure,
that's
what's left of it.
What's left of it. There you go. What are your thoughts on the Premier not attending the vote on a controversial budget? Is that a big deal or what?
Is it a big deal? Well, you said earlier the optics of it probably aren't particularly good. I think it's important, however, if Nova Scotia hopes to be an energy power, a superpower, as the Premier has said, that Nova Scotia has to be represented at the important international events. And Houston is a very important one. The Premier is also the Minister of Energy. So I think that Tim Powers had this about right when he said that maybe the optics aren't that good, but I do think it was important for the Premier to be there in Houston. I'm more concerned, though, about what I consider to be the overreaction of the Speaker to close the precinct of the legislature to the public. I know that the Speaker has a responsibility to maintain order and decorum in the House, and clearly if there are safety concerns, then the safety of people in the legislature, not only the members, but the staff and others, journalists, everyone who works there, has to be protected. I don't think there was a safety concern here. I could be wrong, and if I am, then I will rescind these remarks. But I think it's a serious matter to close the legislature to the general public for a period of a week, and I'm not sure it was necessary. It is essentially quite anti-democratic to tell the people who can't go in the people's house. You are expected to be well-behaved when you're there, and singing in the gallery is strictly prohibited, according to Mayor McCluskey, who was on, I believe, with Dan yesterday or the day before, and Her Honor doesn't often get that wrong. So I assume that Gloria McCluskey is right about that. So the singing is not permitted. Disruptions are not permitted. But taking the step of closing the precinct, the legislature precinct, to the public is a very serious matter.
Right. What are your thoughts on the Premier holding 2 portfolios? Pretty important, one being, of course, the Premier, and the other, the Energy Minister. Is that too much or what?
No, I don't think so. I think that if the Premier is convinced, as Premier Houston is, that energy is that important and he wants to take it on, that it's acceptable for him to do so. He's not the first premier, by the way, to hold a portfolio. When John Buchanan was elected premier of Nova Scotia, he took on the finance portfolio. He was Minister of Finance and premier. So the premier is in the unique position of deciding what is most important to him or her. And if the premier wishes to take on a portfolio, I have no problem with that.
All right, the Prime Minister came to town with some spending, lots of spending to the tune of $3 billion for defense projects in the Maritimes, and lauding the fact that we've reached the 2% goal. It's for the first time since the Cold War of spending GDP. How important was this? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I've said publicly, in fact, I said it in the Murphy's Logic piece, that there are a couple of reasons to keep the promise of the 2%. One of them is because, of course, we need to do more in our own self-interest, particularly given what's gone on in the United States. But the other reason to do it is because we said we would. I mean, I know that may sound simple, but don't make promises that you can't or won't keep. So I think Prime Minister Carney has done what is the correct thing to do for both of those reasons. One, we do need to beef up our own defense capabilities. But second of all, Canada as a nation needs to be a trustworthy partner. We committed to doing this 2%, and we've done it. And now we are committed to going to 3.5%. And I would say that given the world condition, that's probably going to have to happen as well.
How concerned are you that money gets spent effectively and efficiently and doesn't get wasted?
Well, very concerned. I'm always concerned about the expenditure of public funds because, of course, government is a great, big, unruly, almost an unmanageable machine. And, you know, I don't recall who last said this, but it's been said before, and it's completely true, that making promises to spend money is one thing, getting the money out the door is something else. I do think, however, that in the current Prime Minister, we seem to have a leader who's actually quite intent on getting the money moving. And maybe that's because of his background in banking and because he's a serious man about finance. But I do think that it's one thing to say you're going to spend the money and another thing to do it, and to do it prudently. So let's hope that happens.
Do you think Pierre Poilievre has what it takes to ever be the Prime Minister of this country?
Wow, that's a interesting way to put that question. I think Pierre Poilievre, and I've said this on the Veinotte show before, I think Pierre Poilievre is a man of considerable more intelligence than we sometimes give him credit for, because he's given into some of the show business, well, the theatrics of politics, and sure, politics is always somewhat theatrical. But I could come back to this. You know, in the last election, Pierre Poilievre got more votes than any conservative leader in more than a generation. I think it probably goes back to Mulroney's big win in the early 80s. So clearly he was resonating with some Canadians. The problem is there were a large number of Canadians for whom he resonated in the wrong way. And there was research came out just the other day, I think it was from Narrative Research, but I stand to be corrected, that indicated that female voters in particular were resistant to Pierre Poilievre. Does he have what it takes to be Prime Minister of Canada? I don't know. I used to say that, I said this about former premiers of Nova Scotia, that just before someone is elected Premier of Nova Scotia, the consensus is they'll never be Premier. So politics is a strange game. I don't know. I would say, given where Mr. Carney stands in public sentiment at the moment, that Mr. Poilievre is going to have an uphill battle on his hands.
Yeah, for sure. And the NDP are look, we know here in Nova Scotia, Claudia Gender, I commend her. I think she does a good job. She fights a good battle. But federally, decimated at complete drift. What are your thoughts on the NDP federally?
Well, I think now that the Liberals have kind of come back to the center under Prime Minister Carney, that there's more room in the center left for the NDP. Let's face it, in the last election, many Canadians who would normally be comfortable NDP voters were very comfortable being Liberal voters because the Liberals really have moved so far into the left that they co-opted many of the NDP's policies. And the output agreement that Mr. Trudeau had with Mr. Singh guaranteed that the NDP was sort of, I don't know, just a subsidiary of the Liberals in the minds of many. So I think now that Mr. Carney's gone back to the center and Mr. Poilievre is already courting the right, the center right, that does open up some space for the NDP in the left. But how far left do Canadians want to go? And the choice of the new NDP leader will come down to Avi Lewis, who's quite a lefty. And I don't mean that in a critical sense. He's the son of Stephen Lewis, the grandson of David Lewis. He's a very authentic progressive politician in the country, no doubt about it. Or a candidate more to the center, more of a Jack Layton-style candidate who's able to attract center votes. I don't know. I'm not sure that the country wants a socialist or extreme left-wing alternative, but the country may be ready for something a little more left than the current Liberal Party seems to be. Having said that, the Prime Minister remains extraordinarily popular.
Right on, Steve. Listen, I can't thank you enough for doing this. I really appreciate it, and I consider you a good friend. And let's meet for a beer or coffee or both when you get back to Canada.
Indeed, we will. And just before I go, I was speaking with Dan Appleby, the news director at CTV yesterday, who asked me to pass on to you, on behalf of all of your colleagues across the street there on Roby Street, the very best wishes for the future.
Well, that's very kind. Thank you, my friend. Thanks, Steve.
We'll be in touch.
All right, take care. That's Steve Murphy, CTV, longtime news anchor, special correspondent, and legend, I think is sometimes overused, but not in this case. That's for sure. Coming up in the next half hour, we're going to talk sports with Cecil, of course. Got to get some jabs in with Cecil. I'll have some things to say, but we're going to talk some weather, and we'll have Alistair Alders in when we come back. All right, we're heading into the last half hour of the last Todd Veinotte show ever. That's right, folks. We're getting there. I've got some comments that I'm going to share with you when we wrap up with the show, obviously. I have some things that I want to say. But in the meantime, we are going to get down to some business. We're going to talk sports with Cecil. And joining me here in studio is Alistair Alders, who is a meteorologist, everybody. Meteorologist, Alistair Alders. How's that sound, bud?
Oh, it's great. It's I got that accreditation at in middle December, and not too long ago officially got my degree in the mail because I wasn't able to attend the ceremony, but so it's been great, and it's been a true test this winter with all of the weather that we've had.
Oh yeah! By the way, for the last 2 months, boo, hiss.
I had to do that one more time.
Hiss. You're a bad man. You are a bad man.
I haven't had that from Dan at all. So
That's
I mean,
right.
well, maybe off the air. But,
well, better get on the air because you deserve a little bit of that.
Oh, it has.
The weather has sucked.
It has been.
It sucked.
It's been a traditional winter, worse than we've had in a little bit, especially in terms of snow.
The weather sucked.
It's not been great. It's not been great, and especially in terms of trying to have a nice stretch of sunshine, which we all really look forward to, especially at this time of year. Really tough to get a stretch of sunny days, and just the cooler temperatures that we've had, and of course all the shoveling that we had to do, especially through February and at times this month. It hasn't been great, but we're closer. We're in spring now, but we're closer to the brighter, sunny, warmer days than we are to those cold, long winter days. So there's some light on the horizon for sure. But it's
even the weekend is going to be a little cooler than normal.
Exactly. I mean, some might be able to manage to get to zero on Saturday, but -2, -1 for the high on Saturday. Sun in the mix, which does help at this time of year, but the normal high is 5 degrees at this time of year, so it's certainly cooler than normal. And then even Sunday, 0 or +1 for the high, depending on where you are in HRM. So it's cooler than average, but we're seeing that sunshine. So I guess the trade-off for the sunshine is the cooler temperatures, and then things do start to warm up next week, but it comes at the price of more unsettled weather. So we can't seem to we've had a couple of decent days where it's been sunny and warm, but we're really struggling to get the sunshine and the warmth overlapping. It's these unsettled systems that have been bringing in the warm temperatures lately.
Yeah, well, Kelly and I have figured out a way to beat it.
How's that?
We're going to Jamaica.
Congratulations. Are you bringing all of us with you?
No, we're not.
No, only 2 tickets. That's maybe you can bring some of that warmth and sunshine back.
We'll bring some back.
Because we certainly need it. I mean, after, just the long winter, even if it was mild at times, it's always, a bit of a tough time of year for a lot of people. Just, for various aspects,
Well, typically we become accustomed to March kind of being that month where it starts to warm up. Start to get those 9-10 degree days, and we've had a couple of them.
We have had a few warm days, but what is interesting about this past winter compared to recent years is, as you mentioned, March has been fairly mild and not as snowy. The previous winters we've seen that, and even December has been, a mild and often rainier month than snowy, but the last 2 Decembers were quite snowy and cooler. And then really this winter, January we had, I believe it was a week and a half stretch where it was mild. But we haven't really had those fluctuations where we see, these systems coming through that bump the temperatures up when we go from snow to ice to rain. We've obviously more recently had some of those systems moving through, and that comes with the time of year, but we've had just a lot of snow rather than ice or rainy systems, which, I think a lot of people would take the snow over freezing rain just because of how treacherous the ice can be and how many problems it can cause. But obviously, when you're constantly shoveling every Monday, we were in that pattern, people get pretty tired of it pretty fast. I was speaking to one of our colleagues before we came on, just saying, well, I guess, maybe a silver lining is that we weren't in St. John's and the Avalon Peninsula in Newfoundland where they had even more snow this winter. They were really battered, especially through February and through much of March. And then on the flip side, places like northern New Brunswick, where I'm hearing from people that, they haven't had a lot of snow this winter, and they're concerned about what that could mean for obviously the growing season and the the possibility of another drought in the upcoming summer.
That's right. And it always seems to me that Sydney, Cape Breton just gets walloped all the time. What is going on with that?
Oh, well, there's so many different microclimates in Nova Scotia when you really think about it. There's a lot of various factors depending on where you are, and a lot of it has to do with the wind direction at this time of year. So if you have that cold wind coming in off of, the Northumberland Strait and the Gulf of St. Lawrence, it can really lead to, these kind of almost like mini snowstorms where they're very localized to, especially western and northern Cape Breton, but at times into Sydney and other parts of Cape Breton. A lot of the times what we see there is the systems, they start to move through and then they end up slowing down or they're strengthening as they move through. So you see the impacts intensify and sometimes last longer in the areas farther east because those systems slow down. So while they may have moved through faster in a place like, where we are here in Halifax or in the Southwest, sometimes the speed of those systems and the wraparound bands of precipitation that we see come in behind them sometimes lead to a bit of a lag. But, the weather truly does vary across the province. You can't paint the province with one weather brush because even in Halifax and Metro, there's a lot of different microclimates, between the coast, even the city, and then out to the airport, that's what makes my job so interesting is, trying to, I like the challenge of trying to figure out how those different microclimates will come into play. And, sometimes I don't like it as much because it can make for headaches when you're trying to forecast, but it's also a fun challenge too.
If it were easy, everyone would do it, right?
Exactly. If it were easy, we wouldn't have to forecast the weather every day.
That's right.
I believe it's Jim Abraham, well-respected retired meteorologist who often says, well, if, the weather was perfect and weather models were perfect, you could, predict the weather once a week and then you'd be fine. But we know, weather accuracy is pretty good up, 5 to 7 days out, and some parameters, for at least pattern signals are good. They're becoming increasingly better in the 10 to 14 day window. But we obviously know, especially here in Atlantic Canada and Nova Scotia, that the weather can change very fast. So, while accuracy is pretty good in the 7 day window, it's always going to be closer to those storm systems that we really,
So for the weekend, no snow, but a little cooler.
Yeah, maybe a few isolated flurries around. Nothing significant. Sun and cloud in the mix. Cooler than we should be. and then perhaps some showers or flurries Monday, bit of a break, and then maybe a bit of an unsettled midweek.
Okay. And again, congratulations, my friend. Well done on being on that accreditation. I really am proud of you.
I appreciate that, Todd, and I just want to say thank you for everything, for allowing me to sit in this chair each Friday. Everything you've done over the years, not just, in my role as a weather specialist, but when I was over in that traffic booth, a lot of good times, a lot of good memories.
A lot of good times.
Yes, a lot of laughs. Yeah. It's been really great. It's been an honor to sit in this studio with you, and just wishing you all the best in what's to come.
Thanks, pal. Take care. That's Alistair Alders, meteorologist. Sports with Cecil when we come back. All right, time to talk sports one more time with our sports guru, Cecil Wright. Cecil Wright. Wow. This is it, pal.
It's been a long time coming, buddy.
I know. But we've had many great chats, and I got to tell you, I really, really enjoyed our segments, and I get, of all the feedback that I get, some of the most consistent feedback is people enjoying our banter and our jabs at each other. People really enjoyed it.
Well, they love it when I kick your butt, man. They just love it.
I was trying to be nice, and you turn out and you become a jerk. What happened there?
Well, why should today be any different, really? That's what the people expect, I guess.
That's right. And how the hell did the New England Patriots get back to the Super Bowl? I can't figure that one out.
Well, first of all, we had the world's easiest schedule, and even I am admitting that.
Yeah.
But, give Mike Vrabel some credit. He did a good job. He held the team together, and, I expect bigger things from them in the future, even though their schedule is going to be a lot tougher.
Yeah. All right, let's not talk football right now because we've got some hockey to talk about and the woes of the Toronto Maple Leafs. What do they do with this team? Is it tear it down time, Cecil? Are we tear this thing down to the bones and start over? Is that basically where that's kind of what we're looking at, isn't it?
Well, I would say that they started when they got rid of Marner.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that Austin Matthews is your guy and everything, but if they really wanted to go after the big teardown, they would trade him to somebody who is willing to pay him whatever it is he's going to be looking for in his next contract, which is going to be huge. Mm-hmm. And they would probably get a couple very nice pieces in return for him. But you can't just expect things to change around with the status quo the way it is. I mean, they're just not playing very well. And I say that after they beat my Bruins there last week.
What about Berube? He was considered to be a tough guy. Well, he was a tough guy. And he was thought to bring some truculence to the team. What happened with Berube? How did he not get convince those players to play the style of hockey that he thought they needed to play?
I don't think that the team that they have is committed to playing that style of hockey. I think you've got a lot of guys on the team who think that they're a little bit shiftier and fancier than they really are. And instead of playing like the old rock'em sock'em style that Berube used to play and is in favor of, they want to play the finesse Wayne Gretzky style of play, and they're not up to it, man. They're not up to it at all.
No, all right. So that all said, who do you like? Who's in good position right now, heading into the kind of the playoff stretch run here? Who do you like?
You mean other than my Bruins?
Yes, of course, other than your Bruins.
You're not going to believe I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
Watch out for Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal's good. Yeah,
they've got a good team, and also, the Ottawa Senators are breathing down. They just might make the playoffs.
Yeah. That's Kachuk. I mean, they got hurt. Now that's a grit team right there, Ottawa. And,
you got that right.
Yeah, and that's what you need. Clearly, the Leafs are missing that potion, aren't they?
Well, especially when you go into the playoffs, it's you can have all the scores in the world, but it comes down to how good you play defensively and how good your goaltender is. That's what wins games in the playoffs. So, the teams that go out there looking for the fancy schmancy style and, let me have, 10, 20 goal scorers, they get shut down in the playoffs. And I think that, history proves that that's correct. And I think, using Toronto as an example, until they make changes, and I'm not talking about coaching changes, I'm talking about philosophical changes in the way what they look for in the players that they draft, like that type of grit just has not been there. They've got to change it, and Ottawa's a good example.
And it's opening day, of course, for the Blue Jays. Can the Blue Jays repeat and get back to the World Series?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be hard because all the other teams have improved as well.
Mm-hmm.
I look at, Boston having improved their starting rotation, and Baltimore has improved considerably. Tampa's always tough. And, of course, you got those Yankees. I mean, it's going to be tough, but, Toronto seems to have a pretty good pitching staff, too. When Savage comes back, they're going to be tough. If they stay injury-free, they've got a chance.
Cecil, listen, always a pleasure, my friend. It's been a real treat to have you on all these years and your contributions, and we'll continue to have you here, of course, on the show. Not my show, but whomever's hosting. But I can't tell you, my friend, how much I've enjoyed it. I really have. Thank you so much.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I wish nothing but the best for you and your family. I think you know that. And at some point, we got to get together and go out and dance into the limelight.
All right, pal. Thanks.
All right. Take care.
All right. Take care, bud. Cecil Wright, our sports guru. There we go, folks. I got a few things that I want to say to wrap things up. This is my last show. It is not the ending that I had envisioned when I started out, obviously, but that's the way life goes sometimes. Huge support from Rogers, the company, I must say. Huge support. And the staff here have bent over backwards. Dan Alstrand has bent over backwards for me and trying to accommodate me, and Vanessa and everybody. And I have nothing but great things to say about the company and the support that I have received. I'm very, very, very fortunate. I have long-term disability in play, and it's and I'm grateful for that. So very fortunate to have had the opportunity to do this job and make a living for 30-plus years in the media. I've often said that every day I've worked in the media has not felt like a job. It's felt like something. This doesn't feel like work. It really doesn't. Worked with the likes of Tom Young, Rick Howe, countless other incredible reporters, journalists, and broadcasters. Endless fun, endless laughs. Just had a bunch of fun and laughs in the newsroom. Oftentimes at the expense of each other as we tear each other apart. But that's the nature of the business. We have gritty people in this business, and that's the way it is. Immense responsibility has come with this role, folks. I've taken it very seriously, and I've tried to be as balanced as possible under, at times, difficult circumstances. I'm not looking for sympathy when I say that. I'm just stating the reality. It has been difficult at times to navigate, and at times I've hit the mark, and at times I've not. I'm learning to be vulnerable. I'm learning to be humbled. I had immense lows. I have had immense lows, folks, over the last few years. Parkinson's disease is not for the faint of heart. It will force you to grow, or it will break you, one of the two. It is not for the faint of heart. Believe me. Again, anybody who is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, there's hope, there's help, but there's got to be a lot of resilience there as well, and you have that within you to do it. You are born, it's innate, it's in you, you can do it, you can get through it. Not just Parkinson's, any health crisis, cancer, depression, whatever comes your way, you have it within you. It is the light within you that can resonate through and get you through it. Parting advice, recalibrate what really matters, because eventually it will be thrust upon you. The harsh reality of life will be thrust upon you. And the sooner you recalibrate what really matters is where it's at. Love and kindness is truly the answer. I mean that, folks. Love and kindness, the lifeblood we all crave and need to achieve true happiness. You will not be happy if you do not have love and kindness in your life. I don't say that I say that with as much genuine feelings as I can muster. To that, my wife Kelly. No words express what you mean to me. And where would I be without you? I have no idea. You are my angel. And I learn from you every day. So all that said, thanks, of course, to everybody for who took the time to listen over the years. And will continue to listen. Thanks to Vanessa Van Ness on the other side of the glass, doing a fine job as always. And continue to listen to the show and support the radio station and all my friends and colleagues here. There will be a talk show here on Monday. It'll be at 10 o'clock. Counselors on the hot seat. And I've been sworn to secrecy. I can't say any more than that. But the show will go on, as they say. And I will make the odd appearance as well. Dan has invited me in for the odd appearance. And I look forward to that. So again, folks, thanks so much. It's been a real treat, a real pleasure. And love is the answer. And take care of yourselves.